Welcome to After the Bell. I am your host, Lauren Cranmer. I am a stage 3 breast cancer while pregnant survivor. I'm also a functional health nurse and a certified holistic nutritionist and HTMA practitioner. And today I bringing to you an episode I really like. It was a little bit different because I'm bringing on somebody who is a personal friend as well as a fertility mindset coach. Her name is Rebecca Mauel. Bex is what I call her. She has a unique story in terms of fertility. And the reason I wanted to bring somebody in the fertility world on is I worked as a fertility nurse for many years, and that's where I met Rebecca. And there's a unique mindset when you're going through these challenges in life, right? Going through fertility treatment, trying to get pregnant. Oftentimes, breast cancer patients have to either go through fertility preservation in order to go through treatment prior, because treatment can harm your reproductive health. So oftentimes breast cancer patients are having conversations with their doctors about fertility. And that is because there's a lot of treatment for breast cancer that can harm your reproductive health. So oftentimes your doctor should be talking to you about fertility preservation if you would like to do it. Now, also, whether you've done fertility preservation or not, there's fertility conversations after breast cancer when you're living in survivorship. Whether you have preserved your fertility and or you're trying to get pregnant and build a family, there can be challenges throughout the way. And one of the things for me as someone who has experience in the fertility world and breast cancer world is the most important part of it all is mindset, in my opinion. And so today I wanted to bring on a fertility mindset coach to kind of put our heads together and just have a conversation about our experiences and mindset and things we have learned along the way. Let's talk about how we met, because I feel like, well, we knew each other from work. We worked together at a fertility center practice, whatever you want to call it. But you and I were like, we clicked, I feel like, right off the bat.
I agree.
But yeah, so we became friends through that. But, you know, you were one of the first people that I had told about my diagnosis. Thank God, because I was still working in the beginning of that when like nobody knew what was happening. So
Yeah.
if it wasn't for you, I feel like those days would have been extremely hard, you know? And
I'm flattered.
it's true though, because, you know, when you don't have like a person to confide in, and then that's just general. And then like at work too, because, you know, you're at work, usually you're trying to like escape, you know, a little bit.
Yeah.
So I had like a buddy in that regard that knew what was happening. It just made me feel a little better because you're always so positive and whatnot.
I try.
You
I
were though,
try,
even
but I really wanted to be there for you. It's scary, you know? And I'm like, if I want to, if anything like that happened to me, that's how I would want someone to show up for me. So I try to do the best I can.
yeah, and even with like ultrasounds and just checking on babe, like that was something that really, really was like huge for me. You
Yeah.
know, but
100%.
and you like I want to know more about you and your story. So like that's how we are connected. But tell me about like you and what you're doing now. So obviously like we met in the fertility world, but how has that morphed for you into what you're doing now and all of that?
Well, pretty much long story short, I feel like me starting almost 9 years ago at this point, I've been with RCNJ working in the fertility world, but who would have known back when I started there that I would need help in the fertility aspect myself? So
Yeah.
I believe something led me there 100%. But also lately, where I'm like, I need to do something different with my expertise or even my heart. You know what I mean? Like, I'm no longer doing it myself. My fertility journey is over. It's come to an end, which is fine. But now I feel like I can give myself 100% to whoever else needs help through it, because it's scary. It's hard. It's all the above, whatever you can think of. But yeah, my story pretty much started where we went through, well, we couldn't get pregnant, obviously. That's how we start, right? And went through a couple IUIs, had an ectopic pregnancy, got through that one, then went through IVF. Thankfully, we had 4 embryos. Remy was the first one ready. So we did a day 5 transfer, fresh transfer at that time. thank God she took, because that is what made my whole life like I was in a dark, 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 dark place prior to that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I
but
remember.
yeah, it was the lowest of low. And I know people feel that way. Trust me. It's like
But
I understand.
you're also like working in it, you know, so you're
Yeah.
seeing people, you know, struggle, but also like get pregnant every single day. And we're talking about it every single day. So
Hmm.
you had a unique, like, you couldn't escape it.
Never. Like I always used to say, like, okay, the people would come for their blood work or ultrasounds, then they get to leave and go to their real lives. You know what I mean? And just like focus on other things in their lives. This was my life, like no matter what, 24/7, in and out, whether it's in my own head or I'm dealing with other people. It's like there was no escape. You're right. That was 100% part of it.
Yeah.
But meant to be, because now where I'm at, it's like the one day I woke up, literally something woke me up and was like, you can do more than this. Then everything at work started changing, like the locations. It's a corporate thing now. It's all changing. Everything is pointing me in the direction of, yes, you're still going to be in this world, but differently. And I'm okay
Yes.
with that. Like this is
Yeah.
my world. This is all I know. This is again, it's all personal. I know personally and professionally. So I feel like this is just the right road for me. And something's pushing me down and I'm just kind of sit back and follow.
And you've so just explain too, like what are you focusing on now and how you decided that that was the right path in terms of coaching and mindset and all of that. Like what made it that specifically? Was it because that you saw the gap or you feel like you needed that?
Yeah. So what's super funny about it is mindset. I've been working hardcore on mindset work for 2 years, like with myself, and anybody else who comes around and is looking for the advice, not even advice, just guidance, I should say.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to help. But I was never thinking about doing anything with it. I just was doing it for myself to get
Mhm.
healthy and all that. But then coaching kept coming into my life. I had no idea what coaching was, never heard of it, never thought of it. And I'm like, once it finally started coming through, I'm like, why is this still coming through? Like every podcast I listen to, every mindset person I like, they're all coaches. And I'm like, again, before that, I had no idea what that was. Kept coming through. I'm like, I cannot be a coach. I know nothing about money or finances or anything like that. Long story short, at this point, we know that's not the case. Like, you don't have to know stuff like that. You can niche as we find out. However, the funniest part about it was I was trying to get away from the fertility world. I was originally going to be coaching in fitness and nutrition
Right.
and wellness. That was my
Because well,
original
you had been like a life
80
change,
pounds
a huge life. Yeah, which is like amazing.
without medication.
Yeah, I feel like you have
Ugh,
to say that nowadays.
yes. But, just to be transparent, it was all basically, first of all, my daughter was the reason. I remember the moment it happened, her first birthday party. That was the day before, I should say, was the last time I ever took a drink. And that is
Yeah.
mainly, that was my, whole goal was to become sober. And that is what made me lose the weight. I did not think of that. The weight kind of just happened. So then I was like, okay, let's run with this. Let's do fitness. Let's do this, that, the other thing. I was just so driven to do that stuff. And now I'm addicted to it. Trade one addiction for another, right? But at least this is healthy.
But you were also too like I don't know if it's necessarily the law of attraction, but like you were feeling like I remember the way you were speaking and it was differently. Like you were just like welcoming the good things into your life. Like you were like so dedicated to that. I feel just even like it was like it was like night I don't want to say night and day, but like it was so clearly different from how you had spoken to your or like to yourself
Hmm.
previously. I was like, wow, this girl like is making moves for her life and like I'm here for it. Like I love it.
Listen, like really, when you sit back and look at it, it's you only have one life. And I refuse, like literally, I worked too hard for Remy. I refuse to miss any moments that I have control over. So
Yeah.
that's another reason I'm trying to go this route. It's I can create my own schedule. That way I can be available for her to drop her off and pick her up from school, to be available to go to her little school parties and parades and all that.
Yeah.
Simple things like that mean a lot to me. Like I only know all that because the people I work with now, they have such a hard time. They have to miss all that stuff. And I'm like, I refuse for that to be a thing for me.
Yeah.
Unacceptable. So
So was mindset when we were talking about like your fertility experience, like when you were going through it, like what did you notice with yourself that now you want to provide to others?
So I noticed that when I was going through my IVF portion of it, it was very dark. Like I said, very dark. To be honest with you, it's all a blur at this point, which I tell the patients that too. I'm like, okay, yes, the needles and all this and the stress, yes. But when you have your baby, it's like, you're going to forget about all this and you're going to be like, I could do that again, you know? But it was very dark. So then I had Remy. That's when my mindset shifted. It wasn't during the fertility treatment, but when my
Right.
mindset shifted after that, and again, I've been working hardcore on it since, like every day it's a practice. That's why they call, practice everything. It's daily. But it's something now that I wish I had back then
Yeah.
going through it. So now I know how to guide people through it because I've been through it. I taught myself all this and I'm like, if I had these tools back then, it would have been
Mm-hmm.
so much different in the sense of, I'm not saying different in the sense of like outcomes, but in
Right.
the mental and the heart feeling of it and the loneliness, all that stuff. So,
Yeah, and that's only like a detriment to the experience of going through it too. It's already, it's not necessarily a positive experience baseline.
right.
So, you really have to put in effort, and having someone there that has the experience, like baseline, plus like having the ability of like the coaching aspect is like, that's why like we're here actually right now, like from my perspective with breast cancer, because I didn't have, like, I saw what information I didn't have and things I wish that maybe was
Mm-hmm.
easier, more accessible. And that's kind of just like how it's morphed into what I'm doing now, because it's like you feel that purpose to like, you almost, but it's also like self-healing, right? Like you
100%.
be like, and that might sound selfish, but it's true. Like it really aligns with me to like find a way to give back to the community, but also to like my past self.
Yes.
And I'm sure it feels the same way for you, because, you're, as much as you wanted out of it, you also see that part in the past now.
Yep. Like I said, I wanted to get out of it. That was my goal. Like it wasn't even a goal. I shouldn't say it like that, but I was trying to make a change, and I thought
Yeah.
change meant change everything,
Like,
but
yeah.
yeah, like change directions altogether. But something kept leading me here.
Yeah.
Like, trust me. And then I was like, okay, let's find a different niche. Fertility, I was trying to get away from. I was like, I am done with this part of my life. I can be free now, But
Yeah.
yeah, I am free in a different way. And now I can help others feel that
Yeah.
like this is where I'm meant to be. I know it. The universe has shown me that. It's led me here. I know it
Yeah.
sounds crazy. I know, but it's just,
It
if you just
doesn't sound
listen,
at least it doesn't sound crazy to me at all.
yeah.
Like I mean, I started to try to help others within my community right off the bat, but there was still aspects I was like trying to run away from that made
Hmm.
it like, I'm like, I can't have everything about cancer. Do like I can't like talk about cancer all the time. I can't post about cancer all the time. And then I can't like help people as like a nurse with what I'm doing with HTMA for cancer purposes. Like I can't do it all. But in the same breath, like that's where I was being led
Hmm.
the whole time. So if anything, I was just causing more of a disruption to try to like get it out of my life. Like
Right.
you kind of have to like by accepting it in your life, I feel like there is some kind of like healing factor in that too. Like, okay, whether like I'm going to make it my own now. And I think like that is a huge like help to you and other people that you're experiencing it with too.
100%. It was hard to fight it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus just let it flow the way it's supposed to be. And I want
Yeah.
to go back to what you were saying. It might sound selfish, but no, like going through all this originally, and same with you, I'm sure, is you were helping yourself. This is how you got through it. And then you're like, you know what? I can share this knowledge and this
Yes.
information and this feeling with others. And then it just happened to go like that. So it's not selfish. I feel like it's definitely, we have to feel it and learn it for ourselves in order to share, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Now, for breast cancer survivors, like they have a unique experience with fertility, because sometimes, some women may have experienced fertility and fertility treatment like prior to getting diagnosed. But
Hmm.
a lot of the time for young cancer survivor or for young cancer patients, they have to either give the option or have been given the option to do fertility preservation, as
Mhm.
you know. And or sometimes honestly, like there's a gap where sometimes it's forgotten about, and then they go through treatment and they
Mhm.
realize that that has affected their fertility for potential future, you know, family
Yeah.
growing. And additionally, if they so after that, then not only if they did fertility preservation or not, they're usually seeking fertility care to try to support their goals of, you know, having a
Yes.
family, which it's such a crazy and wild time because like I remember being asked myself, like, luckily my doctor was very aware and was just like, listen, like, do you plan on having more kids? And for me personally, I was like, no, I'm not doing fertility preservation. Like, I'm just going through treatment. And obviously, from my experience, that alone was just a wild ride. So I can only imagine as someone who does want to do fertility preservation and then has to go
Mhm.
smack dab into like cancer treatment. And then once they're a survivor, and want to like start building their family, like that mental roller coaster is, I'm sure, like
Yeah.
I, I don't I'm very happy I haven't experienced that. I'm very blessed that I have two children, but you know, you're going from like questioning is like, are you, how long are you going to live, to like switching gears and being like, I have to do all these things for like getting pregnant, and will that work? And, you know, mindset wise, I feel like, yes, physically you have to do a lot to go through like cancer treatment and fertility treatment. But like, I feel like mindset is the most important part. And like you know, whatever your spiritual beliefs and just like how you align mentally, because if you don't address your mental health first and like the way you're viewing things, like I could feel like that's like a spiral that you can go down, right? So
Yes.
what would you say to somebody that is going through all this, like after going through cancer treatment, like how would you approach the mindset factor?
Yeah, it's just, I mean, again, the mindset is the one of the most important things because it affects your whole body. It
Yeah.
affects every little part of your body. I know it doesn't sound like that, or nobody actually thinks about that, to be honest with you, but it does. So the
Yeah.
mindset, you really need to reframe things as best as you can. I know this is like, it's hard and it's going to be hard. It's not easy, but trying to reframe things and trying to see. So this is how I visualize it when I'm thinking negative or I'm going down a spiral or whatever the case is. Okay, you can point out all the negative things that are happening, right? But why don't you picture or point out all the positive things? I always put things in a basket. Like, okay, I'm going to point out the small negatives, put that in a small basket, put it to the side. The positive things, I'm going to put it in a giant basket. Let that be the main focus. The negatives, put it to the side, put it under the bed, put it wherever. I'm a visual person though. So when I visualize that stuff, I'm like, okay, then I can just focus on the positive. But listen, you do have to get the negatives out. There's space for both things, you know? So I like to start with the negative, get rid of that, and then we end up with the positive and just continue with that. Once you do that, it, believe it or not, you do feel a little bit, even a little bit better and a lot more positive. And you're going in the right direction versus dwelling in the negatives, not even pointing any positives. There's a positive in every single situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, what you had said about like kind of like acknowledging both, like you're not discounting the negative. Like
Hmm.
obviously there are going to be those too sometimes, but if you're acknowledging that and telling yourself, you're literally like telling your brain, like, okay, this is what I'm doing with those thoughts that are like keeping me down and like weighing really heavy. And I'm going to start to like focus on, um, controlling what I can, you know, with the positives, like that's huge.
Yep.
And even like as a parallel to cancer treatment too, like there's so much that you just cannot control. And once you let go of that factor, like I cannot control this. I have no control about this. So I'm not going to let that control me, and I'm going to control what I can. And take it and then let that take you where you need to go, because I think, I mean, I don't know what if you felt this, but like that lack of control is a huge factor of like the struggle, because with like
Yes.
fertility and whatnot, like not being able to or have a difficult time trying to get pregnant, like you have zero, you feel like what am I doing with my body? My body is broken.
It's broken. It's, not working for me. The one thing I'm supposed to be able to do, I can't do. I'm doing everything I can. There's nothing else. It's hopeless feeling. It's, like I said, I keep saying lonely, but I can't explain it any better way than
Yeah.
lonely. And I know for a fact I'm not the only one. Obviously, I work with these people every single day.
Yeah.
However, it still feels so lonely, or it can. That is my goal, is to make that not the case. Like, I want people
Yeah.
to be open about it and share with each other and be supportive to each other, because that's how you get through. I know it's true. It's how you get through, is the support of others. And the one thing I
Relying on
always
people who
remember,
get it.
yeah, relying on others, especially people who understand what you're going through,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
people can say they understand it and, whatever the case is. But if, I know this sounds like, harsh or whatever, but if you have not gone through it, you don't get it. Like, it's totally a different type of control factor, like,
Yeah.
that you don't have. Like, people trying to get pregnant naturally. Yeah, of course, that's still stressful, and they try, and
Yeah.
eventually, thank goodness, they do get pregnant. But the fertility people, it's like the injections, the time, the money, the effort, the
Yeah.
ultrasounds, all of that. And then for nothing, like, for it to end up with no result,
Yeah.
devastating. It's like, what am I doing wrong? Like, what can I change? And the fact is, nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is what I told myself with my transfers. Like, I had 3 transfers, frozen transfers. The first one, I was like, okay, I'm ready. I'm mentally stable. I'm healthy. I'm fit. I'm this, I'm that. But before that, actually, really quick, like, I got pregnant on my own twice after
Yeah.
Remy. 6 months old Remy, I got pregnant on my own, ended up being an ectopic, lost my tube. 6 months later from that, got pregnant again on my own. But that's another big thing. Once you go through fertility treatment, a lot of people do get pregnant on their own, which is awesome. However, my other one, again, was an ectopic, lost my other tube. Great. So I go through my transfer, my first transfer. I'm like, I'm healthy. I'm fit. I'm this. I'm that. I don't have tubes. Can't be ectopic. Guess what? Ectopic. Or what they say is pregnancy of unknown location.
Right.
Great, right? Perfect. What are the odds? I thought I was mentally prepared for all that. It set me back down. Not as dramatically as I was in originally, because a lot was different. I had my child. Thankful. The one thing I always asked for was for her. That's all I
Yeah.
wanted. But still, it was like, what the heck? Like, why is my body rebelling against me? I don't even have tubes. Blah, 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 blah. Go through my last 2 transfers. They didn't take. That's okay. Because honestly, the last one, I was like, I'm not sure what I want. Do I want to have another child? Do I not? So
Right.
I literally put it into the universe's hands. I said, you know what? I'm going to go through this, because either way, I refuse to leave my career, what I'm doing now, without them. Number one.
Right.
Number
Yeah.
2, I'd rather them be with me, no matter what the outcome is. And number 3, am I on number 3?
Yeah. Yeah. 3.
Whatever's meant to be will be. It's,
Yeah.
again, the last transfer was my easiest transfer. I realize I have no control. I don't. I do everything I
You
can, and
let
that's
go.
all there is to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. So,
Honestly, the letting go part is like, you could, when you actually like mentally let go, you could physically feel it,
mm-hmm, you
right? Like,
sure can. Yes.
it's pretty wild. And
And
I liked your mindset going with that, because um I remember when you were kind of like, I'm not sure what to do. Like, I don't know how I feel necessarily, and you were getting caught up in that, like, questioning yourself phase.
mm-hmm,
So I'm glad that you saw that through and saw the positive aspect of just kind of letting it letting it, like, the universe figure it out.
that's it. That's all I can do. I went through the transfers. I have my embryos with me, in that sort of space or sense. I did what I could. I know when Remy grows up, this is all I really wanted, was when she grows up and she asks, inevitably, she already has, about
Oh,
siblings. How come I don't have a brother or sister? Blah, 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 blah. You know how that goes. I want to be able to tell her, of course, when she's older, not 3, that I tried everything. I tried
yeah.
everything. And that's why I keep saying my fertility journey is over. I don't have tubes, meaning there is no
Yep.
possibility for me to get pregnant. So this is it for me, which, to be honest with you, is so settling and so relieving and so nice, that now I know where I can focus. And this is
Right.
not a thing on my shoulder that I've always had, that weight of like, oh, am I gonna have another child? Am I not? Am I
Right.
That
Right.
is gone, and it
It's
feels so much
freeing.
lighter. It's like insane, the feeling.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that's so, like, you going back and forth. Having a kid is not a small decision, and
Mm-mm.
like, for anybody, no matter what, like, whether you struggle with trying to get pregnant or not. And even, like, I think about this all the time, because I know a lot of like breast cancer survivors who whatever like avenue they go to get there, like do get pregnant after that. And I'm like, for me personally, I'm like, oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine, like that's such a huge decision alone. And then thinking about like, adding the factor of like, I don't know what's going to happen next. Like, am I going to get a
Mhm.
recurrence or not? And then
Yeah.
like whether I'm getting pregnant or after that with more kids, like how do you like the only way to get to that point is to let go, because if you like sit there and go back and forth all day, like all you're going to do is stress
Mhm.
yourself out. And like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like stress for both fertility purposes is, as well as like cancer and health and all those things, like is a huge like weighing down factor physically. Like you can cause so much distress on your metabolic system to like that hinders your like just general health as well as reproductive health.
100%. Yes.
And it's almost like this like circle of like you have to really focus on your mind first going into these things, or and have that aligned. And sometimes it's simply just easier to do it with someone versus
Absolutely.
figuring all that out yourself.
Right. And that's my goal, is to help people. They don't have to figure it out themselves. And I can cut to the chase and give them those tools ahead of time so they don't have to struggle through this process any more than they already are. Yes, my coaching, my processes, my all this, unfortunately, does not take away the
Right.
struggle, the all that stuff. It doesn't. However, I'm hoping, my goal is to help them at least get through it and not feel that way 24/7.
Yeah. Yeah, and just have somebody who that has tools, has experience that you could lean on when you need to, versus just kind of like just willy-nillying it through and trying to figure it
Yes.
out yourself and relying on, Google or maybe a Facebook
Yeah.
group that's not very healthy.
I got in the Facebook groups originally, got right back out.
Yeah, because that can get, well, sometimes there's good information in them. It's still, you're there for not just the information you want. You're in that group with all of it. So sometimes you can get like, I don't know, like negative, very negative people, or
Yes.
me, like, things that you just don't want in your space. And so it's very hard to like rely on stuff like that. Um, so yeah, that's why like I like having, I like that you're focused on one-on-one and like or people that they're in that community too, because then you can kind of guide that like within, because you have a Facebook group, right?
Yes.
So
Bloom
you can
within.
guide the conversation versus like
Yes.
having it
And I
be.
can control it a little bit more and like have things that I want in there versus things that I don't. So, because I
Yeah.
know how it feels, and I just that is a space where I want people to feel comfortable going to and want to go to and feel supported, not like, oh, who's gonna be negative on here today? Absolutely unacceptable. So I feel like now I have more control over that, and I hope people feel comfortable with it.
Yeah, see, you can control that versus the person having to control that when we're speaking
Yes.
about like control. I wanted to ask you too, when you were talking before about like kind of the process of trying to get pregnant, like the waiting game factor, because
Mhm.
a lot of like for breast cancer survivors, they wait a lot in terms of, obviously treatment, but like waiting for scans and waiting for this. And then if you were to go through a fertility or even just trying to get pregnant naturally, you're obviously waiting to try to like see if you're going to have a positive pregnancy test, or
Right.
waiting for the next step if you're going through treatment and just seeing how things turn out. Like the waiting factor, how did you deal with that, and how do you recommend dealing with just that, like the wait?
Yeah, so the 2-week wait, as we say, right?
Yeah.
It's one of the toughest times because you're going in your head, "Okay, what is this symptom? Is this a good symptom? Is this not? Is it okay if I
Right.
stood up like this? Is it okay if I did" but so on and so forth, right? And that's why
Right.
we recommend, specifically at where we worked, or I work and you worked with, me, we do recommend the 48 hours of bed rest, right? And
Mhm.
that is simply because of the mental aspect of it, so that
Right.
you're not like, exactly what I just said. "What if I didn't do this? What if I didn't do that?" That's We're trying to get rid of that. So that is strictly why we do the 48 hours. It's really there's no science behind it. It's
Yeah.
just for your mental.
I remember like having conversations with husbands sometimes. And I'd say that, like, I'm like, listen, like, you need to encourage her not only just like for physical purposes, because I feel like when people like are told like directions,
Mm-hmm.
it's better than just figuring out yourself. But this is a mental thing too, so she needs to be treated like a queen. Like,
Yes.
and like weight on her hand and foot, make her feel because mentally at ease, because that's the main goal of this. Like whether this is a science backed fact or not, like she needs to feel XYZ, because like it is so true. Like you're like you almost need doctor's orders
Mm-hmm.
to let your mind just rest.
100%. I agree with that. And you know what's funny is like lately I've been telling my patients these because what's been happening is they're stressing about the bed rest, meaning,
Yes,
can I
yeah.
do this? Can I work? Can I, you know what?
Don't.
All this that you're stressing about is totally the opposite of what it's supposed to be for, you know?
Right.
So it's like, that's why tell them. I pretty much plain out tell them now, listen, this is for your mentality. This is for you to never look back and say, what if I didn't work? What if I didn't get up? Again, like I said before. So it's 100% up to you. If you want to get up and sit on the couch and work, go for it. But
Yeah.
if you don't, if you want to, again, you can sit up and stuff like that. It's not about that.
Yeah, it's not
But
like
you're not going to go
restrictive.
lifting. You're not going to go vacuum. You're not going to go host a party and make sure you're serving everybody, you know?
But see, I feel like nowadays too, like even with people who are or women who are pregnant, a lot of they're like, why are people telling me not to do things and lift things? And it's like part of it too. For me, at least, it's not so much about physical. Yes, there's certain things that you should be a little bit careful of, right? But like also, there's a mental factor. Like you
Yeah.
shouldn't be doing as much just so you could have like more of a peaceful pregnancy, or even in this situation as well, like it's not it's slowing down, it's reducing stress, it's
Yes.
allowing your body to be at peace and do what it's supposed to do, like
Yes.
because in this day and age, like we're supposed to be doing everything, right? We're the moms that have to do literally everything all of the time, and our brains are constantly like worried about what's next, what do we have to do next, or
Yep.
worrying about life, health, all the things. Like,
Name
you
it. You
know,
name it.
it's we're designed to be stressed out. So in that realm, you really do have to like prescribe it, right? Like prescribe
Yes.
rest, prescribe stress reduction, and like the art of letting go is really hard. So anything that could support that, I think is totally on, like I'm on board with.
It's hard, but you have to practice it and it does get easier. It gets easier and easier because you find that the feeling of it afterwards is so nice that you're like, I want to feel that again. What's the next situation comes up and you're like, okay, I know I did this once. Let me try it again. Let it go. So it just becomes easier and easier. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, letting go is, I remember I would call, well, I call things, this might make me sound crazy. But I have
No.
like I name things sometimes to like make myself feel better about my choice. And for
Okay.
example, like when I was going through cancer treatment and like my son was like, super high energy, and I did not want to do a thing or couldn't, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever the reason, I was super pregnant. I would call those survival days. And that would make me feel better. Like I'm just trying to get through the day, whether there's screen time or I'm doing like whatever it
Yes.
was. Like it would make me feel better. And then like now I'm at a phase where the kids are home with me, right? And I'm their person that apparently has to entertain them for everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I have a ton of stuff I have to do. So I call those days admin days. So I'm like, all right, like we're not going to focus on the kids today because mom has some stuff to do. It's admin work, right? Like I'm the manager of this house.
Yes.
So like,
Yes.
but for me, that like just like your basket, like that kind of groups like my decisions into like what my day is going to be like, and I'm okay with it. Like you don't have to stress about making the kids happy that day, or like with extra curriculars and like
Yes.
whatever activities, like let them be bored, have figure something out. But that like
Use their
settles
brains.
my anxiety about that.
No,
And
I like that.
it's like everybody's gonna like, you have to like, I figured that out like over time. It just like I was doing it and I'm like, why do I do this? Like, why am I naming these like days? Like, okay, we're gonna have XYZ day, but that works for me. And
I
you
like
gotta
it.
kind of find a way, in my opinion, to make your mental load more at ease.
Right.
And it takes work, right? Like you have to think about it. You can't just keep going through these like situations and let them unfold. Like you have to get a handle on your mental load and what you're thinking about and your mindset, right? Like I feel like without that you're kind of just pure chaos.
100%. And you do have control over your mindset when you have the tools to
Right.
put into play. You have the control over what to use, you know? And there's simple things like that I do, and anybody can do them. And yes, it's cliche, but it's the gratitude thing. It's very helpful. First of all, you need to be grateful. That is the key to everything,
Yeah.
you know? But you can even while you're folding laundry or doing the dishes, every piece of laundry you fold, what are you grateful for? You don't
Habit
have to say it out
stacking.
loud. You can say it out loud. You can say it in your mind, whatever the case is. And then guess what? You're so preoccupied with the gratefulness and the good things going, you totally forget, or you're never going to just forget, but it's out of your mind for at least a little bit, the spiral, the negative.
Right. It's not like getting rid of the whatever emotion or things you're feeling of like sadness or guilt or all these like heavy things. It's not getting rid of them for good. You're still going to have these feelings and you're
Mhm.
supposed to feel them, but it's how you're dealing with them and handling them, right? And I know like scientifically it makes me feel better when there's like data, right? You know, everybody wants data, everything's backed by
Yes.
science, but like for me, the brain, your brain is designed to find the problem,
Mhm.
you know? So it's not abnormal to find like the issues or to feel just like you can't get out of that hole. It's because your brain wants you there. Like we were designed to
Yes.
like to find threats. So
That's how we were back in to survive.
yeah, exactly. So it's not crazy that like that is where people's brains will go. So it's how you are dealing with those thoughts and how you are like handling them and acknowledging them and then addressing like for instance the gratitude, like doing gratitude journals. That's combating what your brain's designed to do. So
Yes.
that it's not like you're just doing a gratitude journal and it's all like flowers and sunshine, you know? It's
No,
like
yes.
there's actual mechanisms that help like getting those positive thoughts out and those grateful things out. Because I think sometimes people can think it's a joke, right? Like where it's like, oh,
Right.
gratitude journal, like come on. Like
Okay. Yeah,
I
like,
obviously
okay.
think, you know, it sounds like more cliche versus like an actual like a fact-based or
Right.
evidence-based practice. Um, and it really does go a long way.
It truly does. Like
And I'm sure when you were going through fertility treatments and stuff, and like, or when you were finding kind of um, like when you were overhauling your life, if you will, and you were kind of trying to find your way better, like healthier or happier,
mhm.
did you feel like you were doing, I don't know how to like phrase it, like the smallest things to make big changes? Like,
Yes, any little thing I'm like, this is going to affect this. It could be something so simple as doing the dishes now versus
yeah.
later because I know I'm going to not want to do it later. Just
Yeah.
small things, small shifts like that. It could be just as small as that, you know? So, yeah, any little thing that can shift you to make you more successful in even mentally, I do. And I was doing. That's how I started, like, and I'm like, okay, wait, that was actually good. So it kept coming and bigger, and more. So,
I
yes.
remember, and I remember too for myself, there was I like right after treatment, I felt like I was like a newborn baby, where like I was figuring out how to kind of like rebuild after all the chaos, and I felt like the all I wanted in life, like I kind of broke it down. Like if I had to really simplify what I want in life, um, and not make it like a list of things, like I want my family to be happy and like that, not that kind of stuff, but like very vague. I wanted health and I wanted peace, like mental peace. And
Mhm.
like I asked myself, like shit you not, like doing anything. I'm like, will this bring me health? Will this bring me peace? And if it didn't, I didn't deal with it. Like I didn't do it. And
That's a
I
good,
know that's easier said than done. Like you do it within your circumstance. It's not like
right.
you're going to just like quit your job or something, but
Because it's not bringing me anything.
it's like navigating, navigating your decisions that way with the life that you're living in. And honestly, that got me so far. Like
I like that.
it really did. And even like, it would just be as simple as, because I used to feel so bad about like canceling plans or,
I'm
you
writing
know,
that down. That's fine. Mhm.
like like I was a people pleaser. So like I didn't like
Yes.
saying no, those kinds of things. And honestly, when I asked myself, like, is this going to bring me health and peace? And if it didn't, I wouldn't feel as bad. And I just like that worked for me. So
I
when
love it.
I was asking about like those small things, like that's such a simple thing. And like I remember I'm like I felt like I tried every little thing to like bring myself back around to like just feel good. Like I just wanted to live my life, right?
Right.
And with if bringing it into like the fertility mindset, like it's hard because you're trying to put your head down if you're like trying to get pregnant or going through fertility treatment. You just want to get through it,
Yeah.
but there will be like not to be blunt, but like there if you whenever you put your head down, there's going to be a time like you lift your head up and see, like you're going to have to deal with the emotions that you were avoiding. You're going to have to like see the reality or maybe a negative test or you know so the mental aspect of it is like I can't, I just, it's so important to like allow yourself to feel all the feels, but
Hmm.
also like like it takes work. It's not just something you could avoid, you
Right.
know? And that's why I wanted to talk to you too, because like as there's like that parallel too between like going through cancer treatment and fertility treatment or trying to get pregnant, there you're going through something and like there's an end goal, like your end goal is to stop treatment, like cancer treatment, right? Like to get through chemo or surgery or whatever it is. And then fertility, like you want a child, so like you're
Yeah.
constantly working at getting that over with, but like you have to be able to be there and be like work toward being yourself after all that ends.
Yeah.
So it's so vital to take action on your mindset. That's just my I'll get off
I
my
agree.
soapbox, but
I agree. No, I agree because it changes everything from the
yeah.
little things to the big things. It just changes everything. And I know that sounds pretty vague and whatever, but it does. That's
Yeah.
it.
And sometimes I feel like, if tell me if you agree, but like it's hard to come to that solution yourself sometimes.
Hmm.
Like
Yes.
unless you've like in hindsight it's really easy to say that. So,
Hindsight's 2020.
yeah, so like it's so much easier said than done, I know. But that's kind of, I'm sure, why you are doing what you're doing as well as I am, is because like you saw like the lack of knowledge with that like small piece of information that you
Yep.
wish you had or had like the wherewithal to try to work toward it then,
Yes. I was
you
so
know.
focused on treatment and the outcome that the mindset was non-existent. It definitely
Yeah.
was the last thing on my mind. Last
And
thing on my mind.
imagine the way the how you are today and like how you've obviously educated yourself but also learned through your experience, like if you had all that knowledge and support from the beginning, like
Yeah.
when you were in it.
It wouldn't be so scary.
It
I feel like it wouldn't be so scary that I would have the tools. I keep saying tools because it is. Like when you went back to, our minds are designed to protect and think of the worst and make sure that's the ego, they say, right? So it's knowing that information ever since I learned that, because yeah, we were built to do that because back in the day, caveman days, they had to do that to stay alive.
Yeah.
But now knowing that we don't need that, every time I have a negative thought or something like that, I literally tell myself out loud, this is not true. Like it does not have to be true.
Yeah. That's my
This
brain.
is my mind telling me this does
Yeah.
not need to be true. Just because it happened once or, it happened to somebody else,
Yeah.
that is not the case, because your mind can drive you nuts.
Yeah. Worst I do it all the time, like, if I'm having one of those, like, worst case scenario thoughts, which does
Mhm.
happen,
Yes.
I'm just like, "No, there's no reasonable thing happening right now that is leading that thought to be true. It is just a thought, you know? Oops. Like, it's just a thought, and, there's so much power in that too. I think that, like, that thinking builds strength, like, just like you would lift a weight
Mhm.
to build your muscles, like
Yes.
practicing that thought process builds your mental strength and resilience, which I think is like that's what I mean when I'm referring to, like, imagine we had that knowledge back then, like not necessarily about fertility, not necessarily about like treatment, like those like like facts, like
Yeah.
more so about that like mental resilience,
Yeah.
you know? It would be it would just be so I don't even know how to describe it, like,
I know.
some
I
things are
don't
you have to go through, but
yeah, I don't know how to I know exactly what you're trying to say. It's
yeah.
just I don't know. But there is one thing I always remember, and you are actually the one who told it to me and make me remember it, is the one thing we actually talked about before was, what is the point of stressing about something that you don't know the answer to yet, when you're missing all that time stressing about something not possibly even the outcome.
Yeah.
When it happens, then you can stress about it.
Right, like, why there is a saying, it's like, "Why worry twice or why stress twice?"
Right, and
Because
that's exactly what you said.
if you worry, you're just worrying in that whole time, and then if it happens, then you have to deal with it,
Again,
and
yes.
if you just stop worrying somehow, make yourself stop worrying, then you either don't ever have to, or you could deal with it when the time, ultimately arrives.
Right.
Yeah, I do
That sticks
remember
with
that
me all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true though. It's easier like ever all of this is difficult.
Easier
It's not
said.
like it's like a decision. It's like you said earlier, like I do this every day. This is what it's a lifestyle. Like you
Yes.
have to want more. You have to want better. You have to want these things to work toward, And I think part of our conversation too is like the value of that, like why it's so important. And it's because like you're working for things in the future and you want to be able to show up in the future, whatever that looks like, as your best self so you could like either enjoy it or continue working toward it. And if you're miserable and you are having such a difficult time, like you're allowed to get support, you're allowed to find a way, but doing it by yourself, sometimes getting stuck in that like that darkness is
Mhm.
it's not like no one should be there, especially alone.
I've lived both lives and I picked this one,
Right.
and I have to wake up every single day and choose to do the positive. I have bad days. I have off days. I have days where I'm like, ugh, but I like this side of it. So I continuously put in the work to make this my lifestyle, like you were saying.
Yeah. Now, what are your do you have daily habits or daily like practices that you try to do most days that keep you on this
So
path?
so a lot of the times I always look back. I love this. Again, I'm a very visual person. So I tell everybody this, like if they're like, okay, well, for example, this is my good example is I want to lose weight. I want to lose 10 pounds. Okay, great. But, I'll start tomorrow, or I'm going to
Mm,
have this today and I'll start tomorrow or Monday. For some reason, it's always Monday, right? And I'm always like, but why not start this second?
yeah.
That's my new mentality, though, is everything this second. Like,
Yeah.
again, the dishes, I'm going to do it right now while I'm thinking about it or seeing it, whatever the case is. And I said, say you start this second, look at yourself or imagine yourself 6 months from now, 3 months from now, whatever it is. You're going to look back at this exact moment, remember, and thank yourself for starting and doing the tough stuff right now.
Yeah.
It's true. I've done it myself, like I've done it. So it's true. You just have to kind of, and I don't, you were saying, put your head up, but sometimes I say, put your head down and just get through it. Like
Yes.
stop thinking about the outside stuff, get through what you're focused on, which is, for example, the weight loss or the weight gain or whatever you're trying to work on, get through to your goal. And then you're going to look back and say, thank you, past self for making me do this.
Yeah. Yeah, and
That's my
visualizing
like every day.
like visualizing that, like what you want versus like what you don't want in the moment. Like, I don't want to be this weight, since we're talking about that. But visual, like seeing yourself at where you want to be, is a extreme motivator. And again, it works toward the grateful, like the gratitude journal. Like,
Oh yeah.
that's focusing on the things that you want versus like on the negatives you don't want, because the your mind will hear that.
Absolutely. So does the universe. I know, like universe, but that's manifesting. That's every single
Yeah.
day. The same thing I do is I do not focus on what I don't want. You have to focus on what you do want, how
Yeah.
you see yourself. And the whole goal to manifesting and all that stuff and the happiness and the visualizing and all that is seeing yourself and imagining yourself and feeling yourself in the situation that you want to be in. You
Yeah.
have to feel it. You have to be it. You have to, embody it. And then you'll feel so much better. It makes you really feel like you're where you want to be.
I feel
So
like
it's
you are the perfect definition of that. Like, I wish, just knowing you throughout the years and whatnot, like y- I could see what it's done for your life, right? Like, I could see it, I feel it. Like, it's crazy what such a what like minor shift,
mhm,
in or reframing, as you were saying, like it's crazy what it can do for you. Like, the way your thought patterns, the weight that you dropped, 80 pounds, that's insane. Like, just your habits of like working out, and like how you're just like floating, like going through life. Like, it's so wild, like, and drastic for you. Like, it means something, is my point. Like, there,
I
like, you speak
appreciate
to
it.
it from like true experience. So there's so much power, and it's not like magic manifesting. It's
No.
not magic. It's
No, it's not just like, "Oh, I want this
yeah,
and that's it." No, you still have to work towards it.
right.
But it's like I said, the universe hears you what you don't want, right? And it doesn't know the difference between you do want or don't want. It hears what it is. I
Yeah,
don't wanna sit in traffic. What, you want traffic? That it doesn't hear like the positives and negatives. You
yeah,
do. So that's and yes, again, like I said, I've been on both sides. I choose this one 10 times over.
yeah. 1000%. I love that. Like, what you've experienced, and what you do
Mhm.
and don't want. Wow. It's making me want to go like work out. I don't know why, but like
Good.
when
I
I
worked out right before this because I
oh,
was like,
good for
"Ugh."
you. I haven't yet today, and I definitely need to, but it's
That's another mental thing, like, absolutely. You hear it all the time, right? You're gonna feel so good after you work out.
yeah,
Mentally, it's great. It is, like,
yeah,
I wish listen, I would smack my past self and just be like, "Listen, please just listen." But
yeah,
that's my new thing is advice. Anybody who I trust or I look up to or I wanna be where they're at, any small even small advice that they give, I just listen. I don't even try to I just, "You know what? Perfect. I'm gonna do that." I don't even try to fight it. I don't try to find a different way. No, I'm just gonna do exactly what you advised because
yeah,
it worked for you and you're where I wanna be? Just
yeah.
do what is like I said, the workout thing, I wish people would listen. It is amazing.
I
Not just
know.
for your body, for your mind, like, it's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons I fell in love with running, and like, because I'm outside, like I get the piece of like being alone and being outside and like working out. Obviously, like, it's great for you,
Mhm.
and that mental, like, that's the reason, like, because it just mentally feels so
Yes.
good. I could check the box off when like, there's just yeah, I'm so on board with that with you too. Like, I just it's way easier said than done, again, to like
Yes.
make that decision, but it's so worth it. It's so freaking worth it to like put yourself in things that you desire or want and first, and um sometimes it takes, like, you really do have to just let it be. Like, think about the positives, but let it happen. Like, don't fight it so hard. Like, don't think about all the challenges. Don't
Right.
think about all the things that can go wrong. Think
Think
about
about what can go right.
yeah, what can go right? Like, maybe who like if something didn't work out, okay, it didn't work out. Like, what's next?
Right.
You
Now
know?
I know not how not to do it?
Yeah. And what's the harm in that, right? Like, what's the harm in just kind of figuring it out? Like, we're all just figuring it out, no matter how like on point people seem or how well put together their lives look. Like, we're all just figuring it out.
That's it.
Even in like in regards to parenting, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I remember as a kid, like, our parents, like, they were adults, like they were our parents, like they had
They
that,
knew
there was like this
everything, right?
definitive thing. And I'm here as like a 37-year-old mom of two. And I'm like, man, I still feel, I don't feel like, like how I imagined
Yes.
I would feel. Like I'm still figuring it out. I'm still a learning parent figuring it out. And like whoever tells you that they've got it all figured out is lying to you.
Absolutely. And you want to steer clear.
So like just embracing that part of it too. Like for instance, even this podcast, right? Like I started it, I was like I wasn't dedicated to starting a podcast. I knew what I wanted. I wanted to help others, and like this turned out to be a way that I could do some of that. And like it just kept like it's evolving. And I'm, like
Right.
part of me, the old me would have been like, okay, like you need to like figure your stuff out, like get more structure, like whatever the like critique could be. But now I'm just like, let it go, like figure it out, and you'll do what you need to do. But
Agreed.
you have to kind of, I don't know, like not to make it about myself, but it's just like a reality for everything. Like everybody's
Mhm.
just figuring it out. And in regards to like fertility and starting a family, like you just got to keep going and figure it out along the way. And having someone like you in your corner, like for that, like just having you as a friend and knowing your experiences too would be like, that's huge for somebody. I believe like you would be the perfect person for that.
I appreciate that, truly.
You're welcome. Your
But in
patience
regards
with
to
it.
fertility, it's also like what you just said. I tell them also to when they're like, "Should I go through again?" I said, "Well, you tell me. Not going through again is not getting you any closer to your goal.
Right.
It's hard." I'm not saying, "Oh, just go through again."
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no. It's hard, but you tell me how badly you want to try again. Do you want your outcome, or are you okay either way? Because if you're okay either way, then maybe stop and give
Yeah.
yourself a break.
Yeah.
But if you really want that goal, you're not getting any closer not proceeding.
Right. I sometimes I hate talking about like like positivity or like being grateful or all those like things that sound like flowers and sunshine, because
Yeah. Mhm.
it's not just about that. It's about like you still have to do hard things. You still have to put in effort. It's not like this toxic positivity thing.
Right.
It's just putting those things on the forefront and figuring out a way to make that the forefront consistently, right? Like
Right. Make
versus
that center stage.
it's not like you're not going to deal with crap in your life or
Exactly.
going through the things that you're going through. It's what you're choosing to kind of have your tunnel vision on. Like it's layered.
Yeah. And it makes the tough things that you do have to go through just that much easier. Even if it's a small scotch easier, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Because you do focus on the positives most of the time. Again, it's not an every single second thing.
Yeah.
It's a practice. I have to consciously remind myself if something is going wrong. I'm like, oh my God, why? But and I'm like, you know what? But this went right about it, or something else. Whatever. It could be small. Like we got ice cream today. That was fun.
It's so true. You got to pick it. Like you got to pick the little, like I know like for me personally, like I have some symptoms of menopause since I'm in menopause, and
Hmm.
like sometimes they can be very prominent in my life. But like, and it's not the best, but also like I'm still able to do, like that's what I want to look at. Like what are the positives that like that combat that? Like I'm still able to do all the things that I want to do. And I'm still
Hmm.
like feeling good about my life. I still am capable of XYZ. And I just like, so none of that bothers me anymore. Like, sure, obviously no one wants to go into menopause at the 33 is when I went in, no one wants to do that. But if I just focused on like the negative parts of it, like I'm going to feel miserable.
Yeah.
So I'm going to look at it as like, listen, I haven't had a period since 2021. I don't have to deal with that right now. Or like I'm still able to go on a couple mile run and feel good. Or, you know, there's just so many ways to reframe, and it's so, so important. I feel like that's what we should have called this podcast episode, like reframing with
Yeah.
Rebecca and Lauren.
Yeah. The art of reframing.
It's a choice, like a life
Yeah.
choice. It's not
Yep.
like I'm just going to reframe a couple times and make it work. Like you have to really work at it.
Absolutely. And you have to make it part of you,
Yeah.
part of
And
your mind, part of your mindset. Go figure, right? But you have to make it part of you.
yeah. So if people wanted to get your support or follow, like where could they find you or how could they contact you if they wanted some support?
So if they were interested in, or they have Instagram, I'm at what, Bloom Mindset Coach on Instagram.
Blue
Facebook,
Mindset Coach.
yes. I keep forgetting which one's which, but Facebook is also the Bloom Mindset Coach.
I'll put your
Just
information in the caption too. So if anybody wants to reach out, they absolutely could or find you. So we will get rid of that. But I always ask a question at like the end of my podcast. So like with your circumstance, like what is one thing that I know we kind of talked about this a lot, but like if you could go back and tell yourself one thing at the beginning of your journey, your specific journey when you saw like when with
mhm.
fertility and all that, what would you have told yourself? Like what did you learn and what was a big lesson that you would tell yourself now?
I would tell myself, stop stressing about it every single second of the day. It's inevitable. You're going to stress. You're going to make it. You're going to get there. Be guided. Stop, stop controlling, trying to control things. It's no matter what, you are going to have your path, whether you fight it or not, is happening. So just sit back, do what you got to do. You're going to get to where you need to be if you just listen and follow.
Love it.
That's what I would say. Just stop. You're
Beautiful.
going to be okay.
Just stop.
Just
Like
yeah, like can you just like relax for a minute and stop controlling things that you have no control over?
yes, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for chatting.
Thank you for
Um,
having me.